Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be solving Cambridge AS level Information Technology paper 2 for the year October-November 2020. These are the files required for the task. Let's start with the spreadsheet task. You work for the Tavera Bus Company and will analyze data collected one day last week showing the time taken by each bus on each stage. The bus will stop briefly at 12 places. We must use the most efficient methods to solve each task. Open and examine the file 20journeys.csv. Let's open the file. Format the spreadsheet so that it is consistent throughout and the left side of the spreadsheet looks like this. So we need to do the following formatting. First we have to merge the cells D1 to AW1. So these are the cells D1 to AW1. Select the cells, merge and center. You can see these three cells have black background with white font and the font size is slightly larger than the data. And the text in this cell is left aligned, so keep it left aligned, and the font size is slightly larger, so I'm giving 13 here. In this case you can see the text is wrapped, so we have wrap text option here. And these cells are merged and the text direction is vertical, so you can choose here the direction. After this stage of the rest of the text should come on the next line. So after stage of, you can click here, press Alt Enter so that it comes on the second line. Make it center aligned. And here column C, all the data are center aligned. All the data must fit here. So after arrival, the words time in should be on the second line. Let's click here, press Alt Enter. Because wrap text will only apply if there is no enough space here, but since we have enough space, it's coming on one line, so in order to avoid that, we did this. Now we have all the formatting done. Next, insert appropriate formulae and labels in row 18 to calculate the total expected journey time. So the total expected journey time is given in this column. So the total of this we can find in row 18 here. So let's use the sum formula and select these cells. So this is the total expected journey time. Let us give a label here. Next, row 18 to calculate total journey time for each bus. So total journey time for each bus is given. These are the different buses. So we have to find the sum of all these values. Let's give a label here. total journey time for each bus equals, it is the sum of all these values. Now let's replicate this so that we can find the total journey time for all the buses. In row 19, to calculate the arrival time for each bus. So this is the starting time and this is the time taken for each bus. So the arrival time will be the sum of these two values. Arrival time equals the departure time plus the time taken. This is the time taken. Now let's replicate this for all the buses. So these are the arrival times for all the buses. Next, column AX to count for each place the number of times when a bus was later than expected. So column AX means here we have to find the number of times each bus was late than expected. So this is the expected time and these are the different times at which the buses have reached. So we have to compare with this time. This is the expected time. If this is greater, this is late. So for the first row, it's fine. We can compare this row with this one using a countif function. But from the second station onwards, we have to keep in mind that if the bus was late in the previous station, then obviously it will be late here also. So that need to be considered. So we need to find the total time taken to reach each station and the total expected time to reach each station. So we cannot change the data here. So I'll copy this data to a new sheet and we'll do the calculation there. So I have copied this. Take a new sheet and paste it. Now let us rename this as count calculation. The sheet is renamed as count calculation. So we need to find the total expected time for each station. So I'll delete this. For the first station, this is fine. For the second station, we have to add this time along with the time taken to reach the second station. I'll give a formula here equals the time taken to reach this station plus the time taken to reach the second station. So you will get the total time taken to reach this second station. We can just replicate this. Now we got the total time for each station. Same way we have to do for all buses here, the time, the original time at which the buses have reached each station. So equals this plus the time taken to reach the second station. We can replicate this here. And then you can replicate it this way. Now we can find the number of times late using a countIf function equals countIf. The range is, for the first row, the range is this, and the criteria is greater than. It is late if it is greater than the expected time. So the expected time is in cell B4. I'll give B4 here. Give OK. Now, since we are using a cell reference here, this double quotes have to be given only for the operator. So the operator will be given the double quotes, and then since we are using a cell reference, we have to add an ampersand for the cell B4. Then only the cell reference will be taken. Otherwise, B4 will be treated as a text. Then only the value from B4 will be compared with the range given here. So now we got the number of times late for the first row. Now let us replicate this. So this is the number of times each bus was late at each stage. Now let's copy these values to the original sheet. So we'll give equals the cell. Now we can replicate it so that the values are copied here. Let's give a label here. Give wrap text so that it fits properly. Next, for each stage of each journey, use conditional formatting to display the contents of the cell as white text on a red background if the stage took longer than the expected time, black text on yellow background if the stage was the same, and dark blue text on light green background if the stage was less than the expected time. So we need to use conditional formatting here. So if you consider this row, we have to compare with the value B4. And next, when you consider this row, the conditional formatting has to be done in accordance with this value. So for each row, we have the column remains the same, but the row will change. So let us give the conditional formatting for the whole rows in this manner. Select this. Now go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules. First we have to check for greater than value if it is greater than the expected time. So the expected time for the first row, this is the value. For all rows, we need to give the same column, but the row will change. So I will remove the $sign for the row so that for each row the corresponding value will be taken. For example, for the second row it will become B5, for the third row it will be B6, and so on. And the formatting is given as white text on red background. So the fill color is red and font color is white. For the formatting, we have to click on custom format. The font color is white and the fill color is red. Give OK. Now next we have to consider if it is equal to the expected time, black text on yellow background. So conditional formatting will give equal to, same way select this cell and remove the dollar sign so that it is applicable for all the rows, and the formatting is black text on yellow background. Now if it is less than the expected time, dark blue text on light green background. So less than the first value I have chosen for the first row. In order to get it applicable for all the rows, let's remove the dollar sign for the rows so that the row will change and the column will remain the same. Go to custom format. The font color is dark blue with light green as the fill color. So the conditional formatting is done. So you can see it is working fine. We'll see some examples. Here this is greater than the expected time, so it's coming as red, and this one is less than the expected time, so it's coming as green as they have given. And you can see this, wherever yellow is there, you can see it is equal to the expected time. So the conditional formatting is fine. Insert a formula in cell D20 to calculate for all stages of all buses the percentage of stages when the bus was later than expected. Include an appropriate label for this cell. So in cell D20 means here we have to calculate the percentage. The percentage of buses that were late is the total number of buses that were late divided by the altogether how many journeys were there. So these are the total number of journeys where the buses were late, all these, and the total of this has to be divided by all the total number of journeys. So we will give the formula equals sum of all these values, which is the total number of journeys for which the buses were late, divided by the total number of journeys, whether it is late or early, the total number of journeys. The total number of journeys is all of this. So we have to give a count function to count all these journeys. So count of all this. So this is the formula used. Let's format it. Go to format cells. It should be percentage. So format as percentage. We have to give an appropriate label here. Percentage of stages when buses were later than expected. Use wrap text. Apply appropriate formatting to your spreadsheet. So this is already in percentage. This one we have to change to HHMM SS format. Go to custom, change it to HHMM SS format. All these are in the same format. If you need to change, you need to go to format cells and custom, set it to HHMM SS as given here. Place your name, center number and candidate number in the header of the spreadsheet. So insert header. We can come back to the normal view, click on view, normal. Save your spreadsheet as stage followed by your center number and candidate number. So file, save as, stage followed by your candidate number and center number, and save it as Excel workbook. Save. So your second step is done. Next, create a second identical spreadsheet in your workbook. In this new spreadsheet, we have to change the background color. So first let us make an identical spreadsheet. So this one, let us rename this sheet as stage. Now create an identical spreadsheet. So right click, move or copy. We can create a copy. And let us rename it as arrive. Change the background color of all the cells with black background to blue. So these three cells which have black background, we have to change it to blue color. So it's blue. Delete rows 18, 19 and 20. Delete. Remove the conditional formatting from all the cells. So select these cells. Go to conditional formatting, clear rules. Clear rules from selected cells. Save this spreadsheet as arrive followed by your candidate number and center number. Save as. I'll change the name as arrive. In this new spreadsheet, edit the text in the merge cell A4 to A16 to say expected length of journey to this town. Expected length of journey to this town. Place in cell B3 the time. This time has to be placed in cell B3. So this is the time in cell B3. Place in cell B4 a formula to display the expected time taken to reach this town. Before giving the formula, let us clear all the cells because we need to calculate all this. All the data has to be cleared from the sheet. because all the values we are going to calculate. So in this cell, we need to find a formula to display the expected time taken to reach this town. How many minutes are taken to reach this town? So first they have given here a value in B3. So we can add this 0 with the value which is given in the, so equals this value plus, we have to use the data from the stage file, that means this one. This is the value. So now you can see we have got this B3 plus this value. So now when you replicate, it will be next one, it will be the time taken will be B3 plus B4, B4 plus B5 in that way. So just replicate this. So this is the time taken by each bus to reach the stations. Next, place replicable formulae in cells D4 to AW16 without changing the structure of the spreadsheet to display the time that each bus arrived at each town. Here we have to display the time at which the bus arrived. For example, the time at which the bus arrived at this station is equals, this is the starting time plus the time taken to reach the station, that is this one. So now you got the time at which the bus reached this station. Now with this value we have to add the next one to get the time at which the bus reached the second station, and then in the next one along with that time this has to be added, and so on. So we need to create a replicable formula. So what we will do is we'll give a formula in this way, equals sum of this departure time plus this departure time and this one for the first station. For the second station, this plus these two cells. So in that way we will be giving the formula. So the formula will be equals sum of, I'll give this way, so I have got the formula, the departure time and the value in cell D4 in the stage 1. Now let's make this absolute so that always it will start from this cell. Now when I replicate this, you can see this will become D2, sum of D2 to D5 in the other file. So from D2, that means from here till D5 in the other cell. That means the sum of D2, D3, D4 and D5. So this one will be calculated. Now when we replicate again, D2, D3, D4, D5 and D6 will be calculated. So we need to just replicate this formula now. Now in order to make it replicable to the other columns also, what I will do is, in the absolute referencing, we know that this one should always start from the row 2, but the columns must change. What we can do is remove the absolute referencing from the column, that is from D. I'll remove this, and only the row will remain fixed, or it will be absolute, and the column will be relative. So when you replicate to the next columns, it will be E2 to E4 and so on. Let's replicate this way and also this way. Ignore this because it's coming, because we have used there is an empty cell in between. Now these are the values which we require. Now according to this, we have to calculate the number of buses which were late. So we'll use the COUNTIF formula again. So the range is the first row, and for the first row the criteria is greater than the departure time plus this time, the time taken to reach that station. So that is the actual time the bus is expected to reach. So like we did before, the operator has to be given in the double inverted comma, and in order to refer to the cell, we have to give an ampersand before that. Give OK. You will get the value here. Before replicating this, the range is fine. When we replicate, the range will change accordingly. But here, the row must not change, as D2 is always fixed. So let us keep the row absolute, and for this one, B4 is the time taken. The column must not change, only the row must change. So the column must be absolute. So this is the formula which we have to give here. Now let us replicate this. So this is the required value. For each stage of each journey, use conditional formatting to display the contents of the cell as black text on a light green background for any stage where the bus was on time or early. So the bus was on time or early means it must be less than or equal to the departure time plus the time taken for each stage. So let us select all the cells, then conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, go for more rules. We need to select less than or equal to. Less than or equal to, the cell which has to be given is this plus this one for the first row. So for each row, we need to make sure that the column will change for this, because in the next one it will be E2, F2. So the column must not be absolute, and here the row must not be absolute, as the row must change and the column must remain fixed. And the formatting is black text on light green background. Give OK. OK. So now you can see this is the formatting which we have applied. Save your spreadsheet. Save this. Evidence 3 is your new spreadsheet, that is the arrive. So this is the end of the spreadsheet task. I hope you all liked my video. The video editing task, which is the next one, will be uploaded soon. Those who have not subscribed, please subscribe so that you can be aware of my new videos. Thank you for now.